If I had to sum up in one word what it's like growing up as the ugly girl, it would be invisible. There's something about being the girl who's in the way, being overlooked, never invited, and taking up space where you feel hyper visible and you feel like everyone in the room can see you, but then you also feel invisible at the same time. You watch people go by living their best, happy, fulfilled lives, and you feel like you're carrying around a dead weight that makes everything 10 times harder for you. Making friends is harder because you feel like the disposable friend. The friend, but never the best friend. Having healthy relationships is harder because no one sees you as desirable. You feel like you're always just a second option, maybe even third option or fourth option. If you're the girl who's never chosen and always left out, it can be tough to say the least. Everyone else is having it easy, minding their own business. Meanwhile, you are here scouring the internet alone in your room, trying to find advice, guidance, or just some sort of hope that you're not alone. If that sounds like you, you're in the right place. Because that was me. And let me tell you, I have learned a lot when it comes to friendships, relationships, and I'm gonna share everything that I know in this video. Hey, if you're new, I'm Christina and I make videos for people who are feeling lonely. If you're a people pleaser, overachiever, overthinker, over anythinger, you're in the right place. Chances are you're not ugly, you just love to hate yourself. And I do say that from a loving place. A lot of people who I think were in my position a couple years ago where I literally felt like the ugliest person to ever walk the planet. I grew up as the only black girl in a school full of hundreds and hundreds of white people and I just felt like I was a walking like laughing stock. I was never the attractive girl, the pretty girl, the girl that someone had a crush on. I was never the girl that you would look at and want to be like. I was the girl that you would look at and quickly look away because you didn't even want to look in my direction sort of thing. When you grow up as this left out, invisible, alone, feeling like you have crippling anxiety to navigate any sort of social setting, loathing yourself quickly becomes a habit. You've had the horrible remarks, you've had the jokey comments, you've had people making fun of your looks, you've had people point at you and stare, you've had people look at you and start laughing based on what you look like. Once you quickly learn that the world finds your appearance unattractive or laughable, you quickly adopt that as your own belief. And there's a lot of content out there on the internet telling you how to have a glow up or how to look smacked, how to improve your looks, how to become more attractive. It doesn't matter what you look like, confidence is more important. Here's how to boost your confidence. But the thing is, people literally don't understand what it feels like to literally be unattractive and invisible. Most people don't understand what it's like to be a young, ugly woman. I was the butt of the jokes, bullying, all that jazz, but from 18 until now, I'm 26, I'm very much invisible or like a second-class citizen. Men don't even see me, the ugly ones as well. I'm invisible to hot and ugly alike, and women are either patronizing or superior alike, depending on their ages and level of beauty. I have friends and I've done well academically and work-wise, but I've never had a single relationship. I've never had sex, and I see no way of changing any of that. It's a lonely, sad existence. Something I've noticed when you are this sort of person that identifies with this Reddit post, or maybe you resonate with what I shared about my experience growing up in high school, I feel like hating yourself becomes your safe space. And this might sound strange, but you have to understand, as humans, our behavior always leans toward what's familiar. We don't always do what's best for us, or what's easiest, or what will give us the best outcome. We like to do what's familiar. For example, if you know that you're feeling lonely and you need to start making more friends, you can't spend every single weekend on your own, every single vacation by yourself, but you're too scared to put yourself out there and you're too scared of the rejection, you're gonna do what's familiar, and that's keep to yourself. Isolate yourself, stay in your room, turn down invites to come to parties, cancel last minute when you're too afraid to actually go to the event. And that's why when it comes to a lot of the self-improvement content out there, or the confidence content, the self-love content, a lot of that is just exhausting and draining because you've got all these people on the internet, myself included, trying to tell you to adopt a new mindset that is literally miles away from your current mindset, that's very familiar, very safe, very nurturing. Even though you hate yourself in that mindset, it's just the safe space for you. Trying to take on board all the confidence advice and all the self-love advice can sometimes feel like you're climbing up an uphill battle. Like the person in the video, I know I'm included in this because I'm here chatting about confidence. The person in the video is telling you to do this and wake up early, build a routine, journal about gratitude. They're telling you all these things, but when you're looking at your life and you're so used to this familiar mindset of Christina, you're a piece of shit, you're ugly, you're this, you're that, you smell, you have no friends. When that is your internal monologue 99% of the day, some girl on YouTube is trying to tell you to be positive and think positively. It's really, really tough. It literally feels like you're climbing up a mountain. That's one of the big reasons why I'm a big advocate for acceptance. If something feels tough, if something feels like you're climbing up a mountain, if something feels like you're having to put in so much energy just to take the first step, literally rather than fight it and try to resist it so much, because what you resist will persist. If something feels tough, just accept it. Yep, maybe I'm ugly. Maybe I have no friends, cool. Maybe I'm really boring and I'm not interesting and I don't have a sense of humor and I'm one of the most boring people that I know. Okay, yeah, sure. Let me just accept it, because then I'm not fighting against myself. Self-improvement has so many limitations, and I spoke about this a lot more in my you don't need self-improvement, you just need self-acceptance video, because I'm convinced half the people that are trying to binge watch all these self-improvement videos and like learn how to level up actually just need self-acceptance instead. Another trap that a lot of us fall into is we try to make up for our beauty elsewhere. You get to a certain point where you feel like the unattractive girl, or the girl that's left out, the girl that's never included, the girl that's invisible, and you think, okay, well, if I'm not attractive, let me make up for this somewhere else. Let me try to be the really funny girl, the girl that can make anyone laugh. Let me try to be the really sporty girl, the girl that does volleyball, basketball, hockey. Let me try to be the smart girl, the girl that gets top grades, A pluses consistently, the girl that's going to go to an Ivy League college. And then before you know it, all of your goals and ambitions are revolving around the fact that you feel insecure about how you look. But you don't see them that way. You see your goals of becoming really athletic, winning these awards. You think it's a genuine goal that you have, but actually it stemmed from a pretty dark place. For some people, they don't try to counteract this based on goals and accomplishments, awards and success. It's more so relationships. If you feel really neglected and feel like no one likes you, you might overcompensate in that. And I actually spoke to someone about this recently. I was talking about the concept of this video, like growing up and feeling ugly and feeling invisible. And they were telling me like, oh, they felt the same way. And I told them, oh, because of that, I feel like I don't have much experience in relationships and I don't really put myself out there as much. I don't really know how to talk to guys. I don't really like using dating apps. But then she said she went the opposite way. Like she was like hypersexual, sleeping around a lot. She settled down now because she has a boyfriend, but we were polar opposites of the spectrum, despite struggling with the same thing when we were younger. Growing up in this way has a huge impact on not just relationships, but also friendships as well. I'm the butt of the joke friend. I'm the punching bag friend. I'm the forgotten friend. The ones whose feelings aren't considered because I'm the she'll get over it friend. I'm just the easy and convenient friend. And that's my own fault. Thinking always being invisible, always being easy and giving more of myself away will finally one day deem me worthy in someone's eyes. Spoiler alert, it doesn't, and I'm still never enough. Thinking that you're never the first choice with friends and you're always an afterthought will slowly turn your friendships into being quite transactional. Like I literally had one of these friendship dynamics where the girl that I was friends with would tell me like, oh yeah, like I'd love to sit with you, but like I'm busy at the moment, I'm not going to be here for lunch. I'd go to the cafeteria and there she was sat with someone else. Or I'd say, oh, are you going to that party? Like, should we go together? She'd be like, oh no, I'm actually not going. And then turns out she actually went with a whole other group of friends. If you encounter this sort of dynamic a couple of times, before you know it, you're going to be the sort of person that like keeps track and keeps tabs of what the person does. And then you try and match up your actions with theirs to say, oh, if she's not doing this, then I'm not going to do this. If she says she's busy, I'm going to pretend that I'm busy as well. Oh, but if she does do this for me with the one time, okay, I guess I'll do it for her as well. Like you're keeping tabs and making sure that like the balance sheet is equal. When in reality, like a genuine healthy friendship, you'd never have to keep track of what each other's doing because you'd always naturally repay each other anyway without having to keep track. In social dynamics as well, this can easily lead to avoidance behaviors where essentially because of how being in a social gathering, a party, a meeting, a Zoom call, because of how it makes you feel, you'll slowly start to avoid these in the future. If you go to a birthday party once and someone makes fun of you or laughs at what you're wearing, then you're probably not going to go to another birthday party anytime soon. Or if you're on a Zoom call and you try and crack a joke and try and be yourself but no one laughs, you're probably not going to do that again. If you're using a dating app, you schedule a date with a guy, you go to the date, you're really excited, you wear your best outfit and like you look at your watch, he's not showed up, it's been 10 minutes, it's been 15 minutes, it's been 20 minutes, he's a no-show, you're probably not going to want to use dating apps again. Trust me, this happened to me. A lot of people who feel this way might tell themselves like, oh, I enjoy my alone time. I like spending time alone. I like to just like sit in my room and do my own thing. But is this actually you enjoy your own company, or is this a result of all your avoidance behaviors? Because going back to what I said at the start of the video, we don't do what's best for us. We don't do what's easy for us. We don't do what we want. We do what's familiar. And sometimes in friendships, this can also mean what's familiar to us is transactional friendships or toxic friendships, unhealthy friendships, friendships where the people only ever take advantage of you, but you settle because you're like, oh, is this the best I can get? I spoke about this a lot in my toxic friendships video, which I'm going to link here. I literally had this a few years ago where I was friends with two other girls. We were like a group of 3 girls all together. And I could tell after a while, like the 2 girls were definitely closer than I was to them. So I was kind of like the extra or the add-on. I'd literally hear them talking about me and hear them making comments about like how weird I was and other stuff. But at the time I didn't think much of it because I was literally like, oh, well, if this, like what other option is there? Like who else would literally be my friend? These 2 girls are the only girls I have. I knew deep down it wasn't healthy and it wasn't even what I wanted, but because it felt like the only option, I thought, what voice do I have to even speak up about this? Now, feeling ugly and unattractive and invisible can definitely affect your friendships, but it can also affect your relationships as well. Give this video a thumbs up if you've ever been speaking to someone in like a romantic way, like you guys are in a talking stage or on a dating app or whatever, and you literally start to panic the more that you start to like them and the more that things are going well. Sometimes when you are that girl that like you see yourself as unattractive, sometimes in a dating sense, I think you can sometimes overcompensate. Like on an app, you might do all of the questions and you might be asking them about their lives and their hobbies, and you might be putting a lot of effort in to like get the conversation going. Or maybe in an actual dating stage, you're the one that's planning all the dates, planning where you're going to go. You're the one driving to them, maybe even picking them up. Or maybe in an actual relationship, you're the one that's always having to like initiate the tough conversations and initiating like communicating about things, initiating like anniversary plans, date plans. Sometimes when you see yourself as like less than, or you see yourself as less worthy, less attractive, less valuable, less lovable, you think you have to do all the work to be lovable and to be worthy. Another thing that can make relationships really complicated is a fear of intimacy. If you feel unattractive in like the facial department, like I did, and you also maybe have like body image issues and you feel uncomfortable wearing certain items and like wearing certain clothing, this can create a lot of fear around like physical intimacy and like actually taking the next step in a relationship with someone. Chances are, by all means possible, you will avoid closeness, you will avoid intimacy, you will avoid even like being in a room alone with them. You will avoid talking about certain things. Even if it's not physical, even if it's just emotional intimacy, like talking about deep things, talking about things that have happened to you in your past, talking about where you grew up and how you feel and like emotions and how they make you feel. I've only come to learn now, as I've made this mistake on multiple different dating apps and multiple different guys that I've spoken to, is that if you run away from intimacy, you're kind of like killing the relationship. There's so many different forms of intimacy, but if you don't have a few forms of them in a relationship, trust me, you just do not have a relationship. Like there has to be intimacy there. But the reason why it can kill the relationship or just kill the spark that you guys had is because you do get closer to people and bond more with them the more that you do get emotionally intimate with them. Currently editing this video, and I just wanted to emphasize, I'm not talking about physical intimacy. It's more so the emotional side. I really do think you have to open up and talk about your feelings to have some form of a connection with someone. Like, your bond is only as strong as your ability to open up. If you're keeping things super surface level and only over touching on the things that feel safe and like are within your comfort zone, if you're gatekeeping and hiding all the deep personal things about you, I totally get it's scary because I've been there, but like your bond is only as strong as your ability to open up. Like you will have more of a bond with the right person when they come along, when you're actually able to open up and talk about your feelings and your emotions. Essentially, the more that you talk about how you feel, the more that you're honest about how you feel, the more that they know about you, the more that they understand you, the more that you communicate. If those things are all stifled because you're too scared and you kind of like change the subject, if you do that enough times, in enough conversations over text, in enough dates when you're talking to each other in person, if you do that enough, you will just stifle the intimacy to the point where the person actually doesn't know you deep enough. And people can't be in a relationship with someone that they don't know very well. This is all well and good because we all know this. We all know that you should open up, be honest, tell people how you feel. Don't bottle up your feelings. But a fear of rejection is very, very real. Chances are if you're watching this video, fear of rejection and fear of being judged, fear of just a lot of things is probably just running your life. It determines a lot of your actions. It determines a lot of what you're going to wear. It determines a lot of what you're going to say on text, to whether it's a girl, a guy. A fear of rejection is going to lead to all those avoidance behaviors of like avoiding going to the parties, avoiding going on the dates, cancelling last minute. Or it's going to lead to avoiding talking about that thing that happened to you on the playground in high school, avoiding talking to them about your relationship with your mum or your relationship with your dad, how you guys fell out. It took me a long time to realize, but avoidance is probably the reason why you feel so disconnected with people. Because all the areas that you're avoiding are all the areas where people know the littlest about you. That's the uncharted territory. That's the territory you never open up about. That's the area that you keep bottled up just for you and you alone. For me, this area was always sort of like my time at high school, being the only black girl in school, feeling really insecure. It's funny because the avoidance area that I would like never talk about and never like even open up about before are all the areas I talk about now openly on my YouTube. So it's not really like an avoidance anymore because I can talk about it freely. But then what I've come to realize is the area that you're most scared to talk about and open up about and like bond with someone over or become like emotionally intimate with someone over is the area where you'll probably have the biggest bond. Like I read some of your comments about how you've like related to some of the things I've said or how you feel the same way that I felt. And it makes me realize, Christina, you were scared for years to talk about these things, but so many people are able to bond with you. And it's scary at first to open up. Like, trust me, I know it's scary. But hiding parts of yourself, especially the important parts of yourself, or the most like intimate parts of yourself, will only perpetuate a feeling of loneliness. You can't hide half of who you are and then expect people to know you fully. You can't hide deep and personal things and then expect people to love you deeply and personally. We all crave friends that know us really well and know us deep down and like just understand us, and we all want friends that we can just click with. But that sort of friendship does require that you show up and be yourself wholeheartedly and entirely. The last chapter is on confidence. We've spoken a little bit about how you might outsource your confidence to achievements, sports, intelligence, success, academics. But a lot of people who are in this boat might struggle with comparison. Your biggest barrier to being confident is probably how much you compare yourself to other people. Most likely because you feel so terrible about yourself because of how you compare yourself to other people. I'm so ugly compared to her. My skin's so bad compared to hers. I have so much acne, but hers is flawless. Because you feel so bad because of comparison, you're convinced that you'll feel much more confident and better about yourself because of comparison. You're looking for the areas of your life where you can compare yourself to someone else and measure up even better than they are. But the lie about comparison is that because it makes you feel terrible does not mean it will make you feel good about yourself. The interesting thing about comparison is that we don't want to be judged by other people. We have a fear of judgment, a fear of rejection. That's why we avoid so many situations and withdraw socially and isolate ourselves. The funny thing about comparison though is because you're judging other people so much, you also end up judging yourself. Even when you aren't in school, at work, on Instagram, around other people, even when you're on your own, you're going to be judging yourself. You're going to be judging what you eat. You're going to be judging how your skin looks. You're going to be judging what you're wearing. You're going to be judging the amount of matches that you got on Hinge today. If you make it a habit to judge other people and use that as a measure of your confidence, you are going to end up judging yourself. Yet you have a fear of judgment. It's the reason why you perpetually feel so bad about yourself, because you're doing the thing to yourself that you would hate for other people to do to you. That's why I've titled this video in this way. You're not ugly, you just love to hate yourself. It's either going to be that or it's going to be something along the lines of like being the ugly girl. I don't know what the title is right now. But the very thing that makes you feel so terrible about yourself that other people do, you also do to yourself. And over the years, I've come to realize comparison lessens and honestly like dramatically reduces in your life when you build up like your sense of self. When you have an identity outside of how you look, when you have an identity outside of the thing that you've outsourced your confidence to, whether it's the career, the academics, the intelligence, all of those achievements in that area are all well and good, but then they're still based on an insecure foundation. This is why I'm the biggest advocate for having hobbies, having a life, experimenting with new things, watching new TV shows, reading new books, trying new things, and just saying yes to life. Because the more you hyperfixate on how unattractive you are, how bad your skin is, how much weight you have to lose, whatever it is, everyone's clicked on this video for a different reason, which I think is quite an interesting thing. Like some people might click on this video and think that the reason why another girl has clicked on this video is like, oh, that's not a big deal. You feel insecure because you're skinny, or you feel insecure because you're 5'10". Like that's not even an insecurity. My insecurity is way worse. We all feel the same, but we all have different reasons for feeling the same. A lot of what feeling ugly is like and feeling unattractive is like is a hyperfixation. You've zoomed in like 10x, 20x on one small aspect of your life or one small aspect of your appearance, and you've made that out to be the one thing that determines your value. But once you realize you have a life outside of how you look, you have a life outside of how smart you are, you have a life outside of how successful you are, then you'll finally start to build up your confidence. That's one of the reasons why I think one of the biggest markers of confidence is you being proud of yourself for who you are and not what you do. Like placing so much emphasis on what you can achieve and how you look and how many likes you can get on Instagram, how many matches you can get on Hinge. That sort of confidence that you would get is very like hollow confidence. Like I spoke about this a lot more in my 7 signs you're more confident than you think video, where I was talking about some of the things that you might not think show that you're confident, but deep down really show that you are. If you made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. I really hope it helped. Honestly, I make a lot of these videos just for my younger self, how I would have been feeling and what I would have liked someone to tell me. So if this helped, let me know in the comments. I'd love to know, and let me know what you'd want to see in the future as well. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.